guys, my name is Sediak and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2, the Cuban edition, where your boy implemented this big beautiful train loop in the last episode to be able to access Cienfuegos and Trinidad, to hook them up to Santa Clara and the Sancti Spiritus lines, which has since extended, and we're now picking up more passengers before. We've got this beautiful and interesting mountain line that now climbs through. But today, we're going to continue the expansions. It's quite the interesting loop. Some people liked it, some people didn't. But what it has done is give us access to these two towns. Now, in this episode, we need to build this area of our network up a little bit more. This area right now, beautiful. It's been having goods being delivered for quite some time. The towns are getting bigger, and the passenger line that goes back and forth is doing pretty well since we've added the ability to have two dual stocks, and it can kind of maintain it for the short distance that it does travel. So before I can start thinking about going to the other end of eventually Cuba, we need to get this built up a bit more. And to do that is to deliver the cities the goods it requires. Now for us, they want food. There is a couple of machines there, which is interesting. There's one cigar, there's some bricks, there's some fuel, alcohol. So there's some different stuff, but some of them share the same product, which is mainly food and machines. Now we're going to see if we can kind of start to deliver at least one of the items that they require, to then slowly start growing the towns, which would then create more residents and then more people that want to be transported, and then more money for all of our train lines. Because right now, we do have a few losing money. A lot of them are the tram systems, which it might be an idea to reevaluate some of them at this point and seeing if I can now sell some eventually. It could be interesting. I don't think a single tram line, if I'm mistaken, is profitable, which just goes to show how little trams we actually need once the initial wave of transport has actually happened. So if you are enjoying the series, please smash that like button down below, subscribe if you are new so you do get notified when more episodes do come out. But we're going to go crazy with the expansions right now, and we're going to start with food. Now we do have a food plant down here which is producing. We actually have two of them all set up, which they're not fully upgraded, which shows there is a lot of capacity I can add to these two factories. Now, if you base it on the previous factory that we had set up over here, that's at full capacity, and it's currently supplying, where is it right now? San Cristobal, Cancun, and Pina del Rio. So 3 towns almost comfortably on the one factory. So we have 2 factories over here, and right now the consumers are Mataz, Colon, and Havana, which is 1, 2, 3 towns just here. So if you base it on 3 per factory, that gives us 6. We can push it a little bit further. That's 3 towns there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think those 4 towns we could squeeze onto this system. And then it's going to want to demand more. So my questions is then, I'm going to add 4 new towns on. Do I need to reevaluate the train system? Because they're going to come up here right now, which would mean that we'll have to create a little split to go this way. Is it too close to the crissy-cross? If I can do it before the crissy-cross, it creates one big junction, and we might be able to get away with it. Let's see what we can do here first. So let's get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you, and get rid of you. Because we are going to have to now redo this little system and get the high-speed trains, and then we'll go from the outside. Can it squeeze in? So we are utilizing cargo on this. Cargo sticks into the middle. So if I bring that to there and then bring you down, that does exactly what I need it to do. Now the problem is that will no longer make sense because the crisscross is happening here. Get rid of that signal and that signal. This signal has become a little bit more difficult to now control. So in terms of passenger, the passenger train does not interact at all. So the passenger train can stay like that. But it does have issues going this way. I think this whole junction system is going to be a slight issue. That would obviously go there. And then the rest is then history. I think that's as good as you can get it without doing anything crazy. So that will allow the trains to come out of here to go around and then turn this way to head in that direction to their respected cities. Now, because I'm adding 4 new trains, would I need to upgrade this to be able to accommodate the 4 additional trains? Now, as it stands, we have 2 lines already coming in. The 3rd line for the 3rd city is actually via vehicle because it's so close. But they come into this here. Now, to add another 4, not an issue. Right, not an issue. They're going to have to share the same tracks anyway. And then the other 2 there for the grain. I suppose what we do is we just do it. And then if it becomes an issue, I'll extend and expand it after. So let me go to create a new line. And create a new line. Are we allowing them to utilize both sides? We are, aren't we? Yes. So at least they can pick from 2 if needs be. So go from there and we'll do our first stop at Santa Clara here. And then we'll make this golden. And then we have to make sure that you're using the right side of the track. So we have to use some waypoints. So from here then, it can utilize both. And I'm going to allow them to utilize both at the other train station. And then it's going to come out here. It's going to join onto this. It stays in the middle. But this is where we need to set up all of our waypoints right now. So cargo can pass through. So if I'm not mistaken, we did something similar over here to this system. And it worked. So now we're going to have to do it to a couple of stations. So we'll start with Colomb. Right. And the first thing we do to Colomb right now is we make their passenger not use both sides to allow cargo to utilize the inner side as a bypassing route for now. That's what we did, right? Let me just double check. Not there. That's not a great example. We did it over here, didn't we? Yes. Yes. And it kind of works out really well. And it's quite efficient. So in Cologne, we're only allowing them to utilize... well, we want them to be on number 3, don't we? Which means no using number 4. And then coming back through Cologne, want them to use number 8 and then not number 7. Nice. So then we've got to set up them to crisscross over. It's quite complex, but it's not complex at the same time. We've got to make this feel like the quicker route. And then also be able to add waypoints. So waypoint versus a signal. And then they're coming down this way. And I want them to go that way and that way. So if I just quickly then manage that new line. And we say to this line that after there, you're going to be hitting this waypoint. It stays in like that. And on the way back, you're hitting that waypoint. So we use the waypoints to manually kind of confirm it. So it uses the outer as a bypass to go through. But then we've got to bring him in on this side. So let's do the same again here. So tracks merging in. Track merging in. Now, sometimes it would do it manually. But sometimes it doesn't. So manage the line again. And after that waypoint, if I set it up. So as it comes down and claw waypoint 2. If I set it up to use this signal, it doesn't do it by default. So beforehand. Oh, I didn't put the waypoints in. Right, waypoints. And I want it to kind of go that way. Because it then it doesn't then interact with the passenger line, which is important. And that's what we're trying to get at. So get to you. So that runs in the center. So as you can see right there, it's able to bypass this station without having to stop on the platforms where the cargo trains would stop. And it only crisscrosses the passenger line there because it has to. But then coming through here, it doesn't have to interact with any passenger train whatsoever. So we need to then replicate that then moving forward. But this train does stop here. So I can't really do anything about that. And then we're going to rename this the Santa Clara, and then call it food. Easy enough, boys. Easy enough. So that's the one there done. So with that done, I'm now going to quickly set up this station to be able to do pretty much the same as the other ones. Now, I know this is getting more complicated and adding a few more lines than I need, and I could do this in a much more efficient and better way. It's just the fact that I've already set it up, and I don't want to go through the fact of changing it all. So, just deal with it. Just deal with it, boys. Just deal with it. And then we'll make the next one go to Sancti Spiritus next. So, new line. And we'll go from there all the way to Sancti Spiritus. Make it that. I want to make it orange just for a minute so it stands out. So, leaving from here. So, we're going to have to make sure that you can utilize both platforms here. Both platforms. Leading up and out. So, it gets to here. It goes into the center. And we want this to follow the waypoints as well. So running through down to here, hitting that waypoint. And that continues. Glorious. But then at this station, we hit the waypoints as well. So it looks like it's already hitting the waypoint. Which is good. But it doesn't hit it on the way out. So we'll make it hit it on the way out. And on the way back, it hits it on the way in. Which is nice. But doesn't hit it on the way out. But now it does. That stays in the center. And then we get back up to Cologne, where we got to hit the waypoint. And then hit the waypoint on the way out. So it only crisscrosses once. Which is there. And it also allows you to do signals here as well. Because I'm treating that as like I said, a waypoint, I could have used them as signals, but it's fine. Now, all I've got to change next then is that line that comes into here. There's actually multiple lines that come in, and those multiple lines are the loop systems. We're going to make sure that they don't go on what's now considered our cargo bypass. But let me just start with Cologne, and let me see if I can just incorporate a signal or two. So a signal could go just there, and it could also go just there as just a nice little way to have a train waiting if it's not waiting at the station, if that makes sense. And before you say it, yes, I know this is overcomplicating it, but it should still work. Now we'll have to do that station as well, but let's just sort out the trains using what I'm now considering the cargo bypass. So I haven't named them, by the way. We haven't named them. So manage this line and the Santa Clara Annex. So the first time it comes in is on 1, and it can only use 1. Right. And then only use 6. Right, that works. Now, the other line in the Santa Clara Annex, 1, 6. So what's using that extra one then? Is it this? What's that line there? Tearing through. Huh? Is it a different line altogether? So the Santa Clara... Oh, no. It is that line. I do apologize. There we go. And then back to this. The purple line. The Sancti Spiritus only using 8. No, sorry, not the Annex. Only using 6. Right, there we go. That is now set up gloriously. That's now set up gloriously where the cargo can completely bypass. Unless it has to wait for the cargo train that's currently in the platform and station. Does what it needs to do. Now let me just set this one up while it's on my brain. So Sancti Spiritus, that would be just that one. And then the other one is line 1. I've got to rename these as well. I'm going to have to do that in just a moment. So Sancti Spiritus, which will be 3 and only 3 and not 4. And then we have the Matt's line that does come in because it ends there. So I'll manage this to be in Sancti Spiritus. We'll make it do number 8 and only number 8. Oh no, I've changed it the wrong one. I'm a fool. I am a fool. Because I forgot to press manage line. Sancti Spiritus, where was we? 8 and only using 8. Which puts it over there. So it comes in, but then leads out that way. And that does what I need to do. Now, the cargo line, I haven't named. So let me just manage this and pull it to its wheat color. So, Sancti Food is what we'll name it. That's then done. So I know it's a bit painful and it's a bit long-winded to get it done, but that's glorious. Now I don't know whether I need to do the Sancti Spiritus, like set up the cargo bypassing runs, because I don't know how they're going to run the food down to these two towns. Now this one's obvious if I put a bend here, but Trinidad, will it come all the way round? Or would it use the bend and go through? See, I don't know yet, so there's no point wasting time. But I will have to incorporate a bend here, which then makes this whole area a bit crazy. It does make it a little bit crazy. So I only want to work with cargo on this. So I could do that. I'm not liking the look of that bend. Alright, bring you to there. Okay, so as long as we've got the signals, we're okay. So for cargo, that waits there. And the cargo train's not going to be long enough, but that is fine. Weirdly, that should be all I need. So a new line from obviously over here. And we'll start here first. I'm going to make it a darker color so I can kind of see it obviously come out, so I can play around with this. So from there, coming through, hitting that waypoint and hitting that waypoint. So it stays in the middle, continues until it gets to this point where it will turn round, going down completely fine. Now, do I allow it to utilize both sides here? I think so, because you never know which side the loop trains are going to be on for a platform. It will slow them down. That's the only downside to this. It's not super efficient. But after that, it's following it all the way back up, and I've just got to sort out the waypoint here and the waypoint there. Now, in reality, it would have been nice if I decided to make the bypass be in the center and they stop on the outer, but it is what it is now. Okay, I'm not going to change it, but then that's completely fine anyway. It still does the job. It still does the job. So make that a golden color. So that one was the easiest one out of all of them because I've already done half the work already. So let's call this the CN Fugos Food. And then this is the one I don't know how it's going to route itself to Trinidad. So if I just make this black, so that super stands out, and is it okay? It's cutting through here, right? That's interesting. So that for them is the quicker route. So let me just quickly do the waypoints here, and then coming back here and here. So that solves those issues. They go around as normal, and then they'll lead through this. Ooh, okay, so they're leading through that a little bit different. So let me set up some waypoints. So I'm just going to do a waypoint there and there, just so I can utilize that line. So after Trinidad, it needs to waypoint that way. So it stays on the correct side of the tracks. And then when it gets to Trinidad, it's able to use both sides. There we go. So it makes sense. There's no point going all the way around. That is the quicker route for them. So yeah, it makes sense. Now, there won't be big trains. There'll be kind of like mediocre trains. So Trinidad. Food. There we go. So we'll start with like normal sized trains and then we'll just see what we need to increase them to moving forward. Where is the best place to pull out the trains from? Where did I get a train depot around here? Oh, it's here, isn't it? Right, we'll pull them from out here anyway. So we'll go diesel just to keep it super cheap for now. And we'll go with these Series 246s because they're fairly cheap. They are fairly cheap. Now we need, it's food, so we need boxcars. We're carrying the 20 size. So I reckon we start with an 80 for each one. And then we'll go from that. So you've got CN food. You've then got Sancti food. You've then got Santa Clara food, and then you've got Trinidad food. Right, allow them to then circulate, but what that then now does for us, because we haven't really checked if the train station reaches the food industries, we haven't really checked that, but that then should instantly start making these want to upgrade. Now, the problem we're going to have after that is they're going to want more grain and sugar being delivered. Now, we are currently delivering from these two farms over there, which is completely maxed out. Can't get any more if I tried. Or at best case scenario. But we're also delivering from truck from these two. Now, this one's now leveling up because it's now discovered there's more demand. And this should do the same. So until these two are fully leveled up, then we won't worry about bringing more resource over. We'll just probably have to increase the amount of vehicles. So at the minute, we'll just leave it as it is. That's all we'll do at the minute. So I just got to figure out then, do the industries reach the train station? So the train station there does reach a radius of it. This one does there. That does there. That does there slightly as well. So it all does without any additional help. So we're okay for the moment. We're going to be okay for the moment. So those cargo trains will make their way through, and hopefully there's not much chaos. So once I see it all working, then we'll start fine-tuning it and seeing where we can kind of improve things. So this factory here should now go into level up mode. This one's already in level up mode. And this is where it then starts demanding, like I said, more product. Right, interesting. So while we give that time to kind of settle down into its rhythm, let's reevaluate some of these tram routes then. So I think every tram is losing money to a certain extent. And that's because we're too efficient. Well, it's not just that, but, you know, kind of. So what we'll do is first, we'll look towards seeing if I can replace these for cheaper ones. So we're spending 88,000. So if I do it by running costs, it's actually the third cheapest one. So for that reason then, finances, we're spending... Is it going to tell us? 263. So could I get away with just having one tram and being profitable? Because you got to think, we've got 2 lines. So I've got 6 trams on the same line in reality. So I'm going to reduce it down to 1 and see if 1 is enough. Because the profit it makes is barely enough for even to make enough profit for 1. But if it's less frequent, there's more people to pick up every time. So we'll see. We will see. Worst case scenario, we switch them from trams and go back to buses because they will be a lot cheaper. But I'm going to do it on all the cities now because it's going to be the same on everything. So if I manage these and just get sell 2. Worst case scenario, we switch them to buses. Manage the vehicles to 2. Get rid of 2, sorry, I mean. Now, the more complex routes like Havana means that they can be profitable, but they take longer to complete a route. So I might hold out a little bit on the Havana line. See how we get on. We can probably get rid of 2 there. And then the other one. Yeah, we'll get rid of 2 there. And sell them. The Havana one's the interesting one, though. It is our capital, but we'll see. Right, I heard upgrades. They've now upgraded. These are upgrading again. So they're going to start demanding even more. We're starting to see food placed on the platforms of our new cities that we've got connected up. So everything is looking good. Everything is looking good. But we'll need more delivery. So we'll see where it bottoms out, and then we'll decide how we're going to deliver more food. More grain, more wheat, and more sugar if needs be. Right. Let's take a look at Jamaica. When was the last time we looked at Jamaica, by the way? Now, Jamaica is accepting alcohol and cigars. Of course it is. How is that line doing? It's pretty stable. But they can only deliver how much the ship brings over. So the next ship coming in is not really filled to the brim just yet. And then the ship takes the tobacco back, which there is a lot available. So I think we might need to either add more ships or increase the capacity of the ships. That might be the way forward here for Jamaica. Right, the shipping run, if I manage the vehicles, it has 12 of them. Now, if I replaced those with cargo related, we are utilizing these bad boys, which have 220 in terms of capacity. I could go to 252 and be a little bit quicker. I could go to 326 and be the same speed. Holy moly, that is a huge difference, isn't it? I mean, it will bring a lot of tobacco back, which might then create more cigars needing to bring back. Let's replace them with these. Or do I go with them? What's the difference again, sorry? It's an extra 32 per boat. I'm going to go for these. Replace. So they're somewhat the same speed, but they do carry quite considerably a lot more. And I delivered the tobacco here for this to start producing, which I can see why this is not bringing back as many cigars, because it's not getting enough delivery. But now we should, with the increased capacity in tugboats. So we'll see how it changes. We'll see how it changes. A lot of wood here on this one. What's that wood train saying? I think we need to upgrade this wood train here. What's the finances on this? It's pretty good, actually. So I'm going to replace that. We'll go diesel, cargo. And we've got a 162 capacity. We'll do a 220, which adds an extra... No, we'll do a 260. So almost an extra 100 on top of the train. And it's a more powerful train. So it should get up to speed a lot quicker. Right. All things are changing right now, boys. All things are changing. This is on the brink of leveling up again. There is a lot more now waiting here at the grain place, so we see if we can add potentially bigger capacity vehicles. So them ones we're using actually don't exist anymore. So one of them is 35. That does 20. That does 32. That does 30. Wow, they don't exist anymore? Or am I looking at the wrong things? No, they don't exist. Oh, that does 38. That's the one we need, is these ones. So the line itself has 210. Replacing those vehicles gives us not much more, but I'll duplicate all of them. And now we've got twice as many vehicles. to deliver the grain that we're not fully yet maxed out on. Right, you ain't got the new load. So we get an extra 106 tobacco being delivered per tugboat here. So we'll see what that does in the long run. Have you got the new load? No. Have you? No. Have you? Yes. It's a recent boat. But I don't know whether to add more boats just to increase the rate of delivery. I'm not sure. Let's take a quick look at Mexico next. Now, this has always been annoying me for quite the longest time. I think it's a case of maybe we change this up slightly. So, this is delivering cigars and food. So, we don't need as many vehicles. So, if I got rid of, let's say, half of them, and maybe 2 more, because they each have a capacity of 17. Where I can replace these. So 17, I can go 20 capacity. I could also do 32. We'll do 32 capacity. Now, that's less vehicles coming in. But now we got to look at these. These do 16. These Mexico grain. So if I was to replace these grain trucks with these bad boys, I don't need the full 40. So first we get rid of $20 of them and replace them with these dump trucks. So less on the roads, a little bit more efficient. Little bit more efficient, he says. Now, are we still overloading this? And how often do we need the trucks to come in? How much does the truck suck up? Right, in comes the truck now. It's not the best system, this, because this is from like day 1, isn't it? So maybe we incorporate 2 more. See how we get on. But yeah, this is day 1 stuff. I don't think there's an ability for me to add any cargo buildings. Nah, we're kind of like locked in on that. But we got these bigger trucks now coming in. So once the number dwindles down a bit, it should be a bit more efficient. Right, that's going to go. Another ship coming in anyway. And I do feel like we are losing out in areas. But like I said, we need to change this. Now, it could be that the drop-off point for these guys don't need to be there. It could be here. Or it could be, like, up there, and then they turn around a different way. Doesn't really matter. But I'm wondering if I've now changed the rate of delivery on this. Remains to be seen. Right, let's look at the USA. Anything overloaded here? Yes, here. But I think that might be a case of... them trucks carry 36. I don't think I can get better than 36. Oh, I can get 38. So an extra 2. So an extra 24 per the whole line. Ain't going to do much difference for us. This grain farm's maxed out. This could do with being upgraded. So there's 10 vehicles there. Let's replace these with them. So from 35 to 38. But I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more on the line. And the US fuel import, which goes all the way down to here. This is making good cash. But there's too much available for it. I need a few more ships. Let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new ships. And that will now take a little bit longer to figure itself out because it's such a long route. It takes a while to kind of low-key update. But we're back in business. We are back in business, boys. So, some big changes have now just happened. Some real big changes. So, we'll come back to those. We'll keep an eye on them. We'll come back to them. Like I said, do I need to increase the rate of the pickup here? I think the answer is yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more boats. We'll go from that. Right, it's going to get very busy now. It's going to get very busy. But since we've added the new food, has Trinidad got its food? Yes. Which has added an extra 60 plus on its growth. So on the charts, it's now skyrocketing. That's a combination of now being able to transport passengers plus now getting some type of good. We're looking good over here as well. And CN. Now, cities that have been connected for quite some time, like Santa Clara, now all of a sudden are getting food deliveries. So they're now going through a second wave of growth after plateauing for so long. And I'm going to assume Sancti Spiritus is the same as well, going for their second growth as they're now getting food being delivered. So that just increases the amount of people that now live in these towns. Thus, more people can be put on the line. And you can see that this line could now... Do you know what? We'll change it for a dual stock. We'll change it for a dual stock. If it can maintain the dual stock... Bonus. It's the equivalent of having 4 of those trains, the dual stack. Almost, anyway. Almost 4 trains. Almost 4 trains, boys. But absolutely glorious. Absolutely glorious. Right, how we're looking down here right now. There's a lot of food on these platforms. The Santa Clara train looks like it needs to be slightly edited to add in. We'll make it double the length because it's got a lot of food there wanting to be picked up. The Havana line, is it making money? It does. And that looks like it could do with an extra one. There we go. And they're getting their foods. Is there a lot still available over here? There is. So we might add 1, 2, 3, 4 more vehicles. And I think that's got a nice little balance on the go. I could definitely add in some larger buildings here, larger cargo buildings. Just for the sake of being able to store more here without it going to waste. That's the idea behind it anyway. That's the idea behind it anyway, boys. Right, very good, very good. Are these looking okay? Are they getting their deliveries right now? There's a lot of wood on this platform still. I mean, could we warrant having a secondary one of these? I mean, how much wood's being delivered? Quite a lot of wood. There is a lot of... I'm gonna change these trains. Right, these carry a little bit of everything, don't they? They do 2 things. So if I replace them with... Let's go diesel U. And then cargo-wise, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the other one is boxcars, right? What else are they taking? No, it's gondolas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So same amount of carriages, just all of a sudden, a lot higher capacity. Actually, I don't think there was much higher capacity. Did it change much? They'll be a lot more powerful and faster. I don't know if it's going to do much more of a dent. But that's the water and sugar line. But I feel like it needs... Both of them need a few more tankers. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now that is making them trains super long. And it's probably been wiser to add a third train on. Now, are they too long for the crisscross? No. No is the answer. But there's not enough sugar or grain on this platform. There is not enough sugar or grain on this platform. Because that is a thirsty boy. Right there. That is a thirsty boy right there. We've got a lot of... Then again, the grains at the factory, we're just looking like we need more water, which we now increased the water deliveries, so it should hopefully balance itself out. It should anyway. We've still got a steam train on that line as well. Right, water delivery coming in. Very good. Second water delivery on the way up. And now we're picking up more water. So I reckon there is a world here where I could add in another one of these trains. It's got the system in place. So I'm going to do it. I'm cloning that train. The finances are pretty good. And it'll just wait its turn now to kind of go out. So how much water does it pick up in general? Is it 220 a go? Yes. So that's now, unfortunately, got to wait for that train. But it now has a higher amount of water availability. Okay. 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 So this has worked out then. Quite happy with it. We're still yet to see what the dual stock's going to do for us. We're still yet to see what that's going to do. You can see our little cargo trains running around. There's our little loop trains. How are the loop trains doing, out of curiosity? They're not yet making profit. I don't know whether because they're so infrequent or whether it's just a case of still there's not that much people to move yet. I'm still waiting to grow the towns a bit more. Nice little tram loop will be great between these guys, but hey-ho, there you go. There you go. And we got our second train now on the go. We do. So that'll now be going back and forth and then taking a lot more pressure off this station in general. Right, that's good then. I feel like we've made some good waves. I feel like we have. Have we added more tobacco to this because they obviously can deliver a lot more? We should do. As it now drops off. There's a lot of ships kind of waiting to dock. Which is funny. So we might need to actually think about extending this harbour. Well, I've had to turn this around. Will this go in next? Yes. Right, you're getting all your tobacco right now. So hopefully those numbers, once the shipment number increases, works out well. But yeah, we're not far off thinking about expanding that harbour, if I'm being honest with you. Right, what lines are losing out now? So some of the tram lines are now making money. The two Havana ones aren't, so we're going to reduce these. I'm actually only going to take one off. I think we might be able to get away with only doing one on them. Sorry, getting rid of one and having two. Because they're on the cusp of making money and not making money. There we go. And then it's some of our new food lines, of course it is. The Havana Machines and Fuel has never looked that good. Is it an old train? Yeah, it's got the old stuff. So that does a 3 and a 2, which is 60 machines, 40 fuel. How many machines and fuel are over here? There is a lot of machines. Oh my goodness me. Right, edit this train. We'll replace the whole train. We'll give it a new wagon. New engine, sorry. So delivering the machines, we'll do. Oh no, it was the new wagon. Sorry. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then fuel. Because fuel is infrequent, we'll just do 2. So I've added 2 extra wagons, which I'm not sure how that is going to play. Whether it's now too long. It's actually not too long. We can actually get 1 or 2 more on there. So get rid. Right, we do that. Now, ideally you could split it into 2 trains, but that should work out well. So it gives me a 140 capacity for the machines then, doesn't it? And that then bypasses any trains that were stopped off, even though we've still got to wait for that one to leave anyway. But it kind of clears it a little bit, kind of. It ain't too bad. It ain't too bad. Right. I think we're going to be doing all right. Yeah, I think we're going to be doing all right at the minute. We are now starting to get a few more people waiting on the line. So is this where we do start to kind of edge towards making profit? It's difficult to say. It is difficult to say, but we are picking more people up. And we will eventually get there. Alright, water is more frequent now, so we're now consistently producing. That's getting lots of delivery. There is the ability here to switch out this vehicle, so it needs to deliver alcohol, which we'll do one of those vehicles. And I'll do 2. Do I do 2 or is 1 enough? How much does it need? Oh, no, we'll do 2 vehicles. 2 vehicles for alcohol there. So there'll be less going to waste. Very nice. Right, how do these get on in the end then? We still need a bit more grain. They're still leveling up. We're pretty much out of grain here. Nothing else we can get. We've bled that dry. Okay. Now, is that train going back filled to the brim? Not really. Now, we do have the ability to pull some sugar from over here. There is some sugar over there as well. Don't want to put it from over there because we are using that. There is some sugar just over there. There's some grain just over there as well. So an easy one could be driving it all the way in with minimal effort. That could be... If I can combine the 2, that's like minimal effort for me. Maximum reward. So if I went there to there, if I upgraded that road as well, and then we led this road in. So let's say we connected off you. Led that going down, and then we bended it in. And then I upgrade said road to make my vehicles that little bit faster. Now, if I go super long, super big, that gets... And we have to do this strategically because I don't want to be able to bring stuff back to start producing alcohol here. That's what we've got to avoid. So if I go from there to there and get them to utilize all of the platforms. Now in the halt here, we're only going to be unloading grain and sugar. So just by setting that up, it's fine, but I'll also predetermine it over here to do the same thing. So load, not alcohol, sorry, sugar and grain. That's all it needs to do. So the line in question, which the Matt's grain, I'll call the new one Matt's grain 2. Make it that color. There we go. And then how many vehicles do we have on that run? So we have 16 for 2. We've got 2 there, but this is a little bit further, so I might just do 20. We'll buy 20. So if I do quantity 20 and buy, and then on Matt's grain 2, that should do it for us. So that'll start putting the sugar and the grain on the platform. Give it time, obviously, to level up and all that sweet jazz. And then that's more stuff being delivered over here. Are we okay on all of this? So Santa Clara food. Oh, I've just realized something. We're actually delivering machines along with all of this. Because if I'm not mistaken, the machines are being dropped off over here, which are being sent to Havana, which are then being picked up to take to there. Because the Havana food train makes money both ways. Okay. Hold on, where? I don't think we've ever delivered fuel, have we? I don't think we have. Now, why is that? It reaches the fuel, but I think it's down to deliveries. So they're never bringing back fuel, are they? Fuel does reach the platform, and we do have a consumer, which is Havana. So they do eventually get it. So there's no point in me getting rid of it. But now it makes sense why that number is so high. So you could argue, well, at this point, is it worth me... Is it worth me having a separate train that runs all the way down to there? I don't think that's the answer, no. I think it's quite okay to do what it's doing. But this in itself is going to be all quite up. I think it might be a case of... This train makes money both ways. It's only started to ramp up recently since what we've now done. So if I replace this train, because now it's going to make money both ways, we can afford to kind of slightly increase it. So we'll give it a 1, 2, 3, 4. What is it? A 160. We'll give it a 200 capacity. So it's able to pick up a bit more. But maybe on this train line, the Havana one, we add a second one. So that doubles the amount it then delivers. I didn't realize we were kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So it's only the Trinidad, the Sancti, Santa Clara. It's only them 3 that are benefiting from it. You could argue Matt's is benefiting from it as well. So that's 4. So that makes a little bit more sense now. So I don't think we're that far off, maybe even thinking about at the same time being able to add more carriages to some of these trains. So does that make money? Not really, but we can add extra 2 carriages. Sancti, do you make money? You do, but I'm also going to add an extra boxcar. Santa Clara, you've already got 140 capacity. Do you make money? You do. I'm going to hold you to that for a minute. And then Trinidad, we'll edit an extra 1 on there. Right, nice couple of additions there. Nice couple of additions. Right, how are we looking over here then? So we still got to wait for these numbers to fully increase. You got to wait for the transport numbers to go up so they level up. But we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere now. So we've now got even less lines losing money, which is good. Now, the Matt's Grain 2 line is losing quite a large amount of cash, but it hasn't delivered in full force yet. Has not yet delivered in full force, so again, give it a bit of time. We are efficient, boys. It's crazy to see the crossover that's happening in Havana. That's something I did not see coming. That was just by pure accident that we're able to deliver. By pure accident. Now, how is the high-speed train line doing? Where is it? It's this one here, isn't it? So finances, it's still making good cash. Is it time we maybe look at replacing it? So if I was to replace it with electric, we're currently utilizing a train that no longer exists, right? Or is it? No, I don't think it exists anymore. So if I was to do it based on, I don't think speed matters. But if I do running costs, we know that this train's running costs are 7.21 million and carries 160. So 7.21 million. We want to get close to it. I don't mind it being more if it carries more passengers. So what carries more passengers? These all carry the same amount of passengers. Apparently the dual stock's treated as high speed. So we could keep it the same capacity with the Liberty train here. Or the Ho. No, I think that one to keep the same. Now, this is making the train be more expensive. Now, we do earn enough. So, like on a low month here, we do earn enough that covers it. But this train will be faster. It can go up to 300 kilometers, this train. Now, it probably won't reach that because, obviously, naturally, the track's not kind of set up for that. But it should go faster than the previous high-speed train. So let's see this in all its fashion then. So this has got a little bit of a distance to now travel. So it's hit 100 kilometers. Let's see. So it won't go too high. I'm hoping it gets to 200-ish before it gets to, I think it's Cologne next, right? So up and over the bridge. I'm not sure what the speed limit of the bridge is. So 170. 180. So it got to 180 before it had to slow down again. Damn, son. So not quite the glorious speed we were hoping. But now it is going to start to go uphill. I don't know what the top speed of the other train was getting at. We should have maybe kind of looked at that beforehand. But again, a little bit more of a distance to travel, but it is on a gradient going uphill. So it could work against us, this. But we've seen it at 180 on the previous stretch. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that at the minute. But it's still a lot faster than my commuter line. It's going to overtake this cargo line in just a minute. 160. So it is going uphill right now, so it will slow down. So, yeah. I mean, I'll take it. I ain't going to complain. I'll take it. I'll take it. So how are we looking anyway in terms of these lines? A lot less are now losing money. It's what we like to see. So we'll end it here then, boys. We've made the city loops bigger because the cities are now grown, so they're carrying more passengers. So I think we can now confidently leave it alone and then focus on the next side of the expansion. So I think next episode, we're going to focus on the high-speed rail line. Until next time, I see you all soon. So goodbye.